Welcome to the information session for the JD program at the Faculty of Law of the University of Hong Kong. I would like to introduce you to the JD program and hopefully convince you to consider applying to the program. My name is Thomas Chang, and I'm the director of the JD program. So first, let me introduce to you the various routes to qualification as a lawyer in Hong Kong. There are two types of lawyers in Hong Kong. In accordance with the English legal tradition. There are barristers who mostly go to court, and there are solicitors who handle transactional work and basically legal work that does not consist of going to court. There are three different routes to qualifying as a lawyer in Hong Kong for someone who does not hold an overseas legal qualification. For most of you, the route of interest will be the purple one on the right. You will have a non-law degree from Hong Kong or any overseas country, and perhaps a non-common law degree from the mainland. You join us and spend 2 years in the JD program, after which you will move on to the PCLL, which is a 1-year professional certificate program which everyone is required to attend in order to become a lawyer in Hong Kong. After that, you can qualify either as a solicitor, which requires a 2-year traineeship, or as a barrister, which requires a 1-year pupillage. So why Hong Kong? It is an international, vibrant, and dynamic city, and probably in recent times a little bit too dynamic and vibrant. And it is also a major legal hub for the East Asian region. Most international law firms have a presence in Hong Kong, and most of them have covered the Asia-Pacific region outside of Japan from Hong Kong. It has a well-established legal system. Judicial autonomy and independence is highly valued, and despite recent challenges, we are confident that our legal system will remain highly valued and important to the future of Hong Kong. It is highly efficient and free from corruption. And so if you would like to start your legal career in the East Asian region, Hong Kong would be a very good place for you to consider. So why study the JD program at HKU? There are a number of reasons. The first one, and I think a lot of you will be familiar with this, is the small class size. As opposed to some of the other JD programs in Hong Kong, our JD program is very small. We have never admitted more than 45 or 6 students a year, and on average, each class is consists of about 40 students. We highly value this small class size, which allows interactive teaching and constant interaction between the professors and students in class, which we think is very important for the learning of law. We have outstanding teaching staff who take their teaching very seriously. A number of our colleagues have won the University Teaching Award, which is the highest recognition of teaching at the University of Hong Kong. We have a vibrant academic environment. Once you join us, you'll be surprised and perhaps amazed by the number of talks and presentations and lectures we have on a weekly basis. There's a wide range of opportunities for JD students, from international mooting to research assistant position and legal clinics. There'll be many, many opportunities for you to pursue interest and explore your legal career. So all these culminate in a high quality of legal education, and that is supplemented further by our strong alumni network. I think it is fair to say many law firms in Hong Kong, well, I should say actually, it would be hard-pressed for you to find a law firm downtown in Hong Kong without an HKU alumnus. Some of our leading academics: Professor Albert Chan. He is a leading expert in constitutional law, and he was also on the drafting committee for the Hong Kong Basic Law, a very renowned commentator on local constitutional affairs. Mr. Eric Chung, for those of you who are from Hong Kong, his face should be very familiar to you. He is a frequent commentator on the law on TV and various media. and his specialty is civil and criminal litigation, and he's also the director of our clinical legal education program. And then lastly, we have Professor N. Chung, who is an expert on media law and privacy law and law and technology. We also have a number of adjunct professors. Professor Andrew Lee, who was the first Chief Justice of the Hong Kong Court of Final Appeals after the handover. We also have Professor Henry Litton, who is another former judge of the CFA, and Professor Bukhari as well. In addition to local judges, we also have a number of regular visitors to Hong Kong. Professor Lek Galecki, judge of European Court of Human Rights, comes and teaches regularly. So does Professor Mindy Chan-Wishart from University of Oxford, and also Mr. Nicholas McBride from University of Cambridge, and Professor Jens Scherpe from University of Cambridge. This is just a sample of the number of talks we have on the HKU campus on a weekly basis. And the posters you see here are from the space of a few months. And so this gives you a flavor of the variety of lectures and seminars and talks we hold on campus. So for students who are interested in broadening the horizon and learning more about areas of law beyond the classroom, there are constant opportunities for you to do so. I have mentioned mooting competition and clinical programs. HKU participates in a number of international mooting competitions, and for those of you who are not familiar with them, what is a mooting competition? Students take part in a mooting competition where students are given a case and they basically argue a case in front of judges as simulated lawyers. And these judges, some of them are actual judges, and this mooting competitions give students a valuable opportunity to improve their advocacy skills and to see what it is like to act like a lawyer. Another opportunity for you to experience what it is like to be a lawyer is our clinical programs. I mentioned earlier that Mr. Eric Chung is the director of our clinical legal education program. And what is a clinical legal education program? Students take part in a clinical legal education program under the supervision of qualified lawyers in Hong Kong, and they handle actual legal cases. So for those who need legal help, they can come to our clinic, register, and they will be seen by a student who will take all the relevant information, confer with the supervising lawyer, and then provide legal assistance to those in need. In addition to mooting and legal clinic, we also have a student-run academic journal called the Hong Kong Journal of Legal Studies. For those who are interested in legal research and writing, and perhaps even a legal academic career, journal experience is highly valuable. It gives you an opportunity to see what it is like to be an editor of a law journal. For legal study, as you will find out once you join HKU, legal journals are a very important source of information and ideas. We have student researcher scheme as well. Students are paired up with academics in the faculty who require research assistance. And so students can sign up for that and learn valuable legal research skills, and also to broaden their horizon beyond the subjects they learn in the curriculum. We have a number of research centers, and many of them are leading research centers in Hong Kong and the region. EIFL, the Asian Institute of International Financial Law, has been in existence for 20 years, and it is a leading research center on financial law in Hong Kong and in Asia Pacific. There's also the Center for Comparative and Public Law, which is a leading research center for public law in Hong Kong. There's also the Center for Chinese Law, the Law and Technology Center, and the Center for Medical Ethics and Law, which is our youngest research center. So on to our curriculum. We have a number of guiding principles in designing our curriculum. First, we aim to provide solid training in core areas of common law, which are the building blocks for any other areas of law that you may be interested in pursuing as a practitioner eventually. But we also focus on developing transferable skills such as analytical skills, communicative skills, research and writing skills. And as part of the program, you will be required to take a course on what we call the International Comparative and Theoretical Perspectives of Law. And this requirement aims to broaden your horizon beyond black letter law, to take a step back and think about law from a different perspective. We have a wide range of electives, which are listed here to give you a flavor. We have a very large number of electives in the Faculty of Law, and I'm sure you'll find an elective that suits your interest as a JD student. So the basic program structure. We have 14 core courses, which are listed here. These are the fundamental areas of the common law system. Every student is required to take them. And then on top of that, we have 5 PCLL prerequisite courses, which are required for everyone who plans to attend the PCLL certificate program. But for those of you who do not intend to practice law in Hong Kong, these 5 courses will be not required, and you are free to take other electives. There are 4 law elective courses which you can take, you can use to take courses on intellectual property law, competition law, animal law, whatever suits your fancy. And there's a capstone experience which every student is required to partake in. A capstone experience can be in the form of a dissertation, a legal clinic, or participation in an international mooting competition. So the suggested sequence of study is shown here. In the first year, the program will consist by and large compulsory courses, contracts towards criminal law, the 2 public law courses of constitutional law and administrative law, commercial law, and you have 1 elective. And of course, the JD program starts a bit earlier than the rest of the law faculty. The induction period begins in early August. And this is to give you a head start to also transition you to legal study. So in the induction period in August, teaching will focus on the course of legal system and legal research, which consists of 2 components. The first one, an introduction to the legal system in Hong Kong, and the second one, an introduction to legal research and writing. The second year is a little heavier than the first year. You take a few more credits, and so you continue to have a number of compulsory courses, land law and equity and trusts, and you'll also be required, or you also have to take your PCLL prerequisites if you plan to pursue the PCLL, company law, evidence, civil procedure, criminal procedure, and land law. The second year also differs from the first year in having a summer semester. This starts in late May and finishes in early July. And at the moment, the summer semester will consist of the 2 PCLL prerequisites of criminal procedure and land law 3. And you'll also be taking the remaining 3 electives and a capstone course which stretches over the course of the entire year. One opportunity worth mentioning is an exchange opportunity that is unique to the JD program at HKU. Students who are chosen to participate in the program will extend the JD study by 1 year and spend the 3rd year at Penn as an exchange student from HKU. Upon completion of his or her 1 year in UPenn, you'll be awarded an LLM degree. And so this is an excellent opportunity to for students to explore a different legal system and to expose themselves to the US legal system, which is very different from Hong Kong. And here you can see the reflection of one of our students, Vanessa Lowe, who has gone to UPenn this past year. Tuition fees. For those who enter the program in September 2019, the tuition fee will be 200,000 Hong Kong dollars per year, or 400,000 Hong Kong dollars for the entire degree. And for those of you who go on exchange at UPenn in your 3rd year, you'll be required to pay a nominal fee at HKU of $40,000 as a student, but you will not be required to pay the tuition fees of an LLM at UPenn, which is in excess of 60,000 US dollars. Admission criteria. There are 2 main components that we look at in terms of academic performance. The first one is your performance as an undergraduate student. So your first degree in a non-law subject or a law degree from a non-common law jurisdiction. And as the JD program is an academically rigorous program, we do have high expectations of the academic standard of the students we admit. And of course, because the JD program is conducted in English, we also have fairly high English requirements. For those of you who did not attend an undergraduate institution where the medium of instruction is English, you'll be required to take the IELTS exam and achieve an overall score of at least 7.5 and then at least a 7.0 for academic writing and at least 6.5 for each individual component. You can also take the TOEFL exam, and you must achieve at least 100 on the online version of the TOEFL exam. So how to apply to the JD program? So this is the link. The application process is online, but we do require you to send in the supporting documents, either the original copy or certified true copy of the supporting documents to us directly. And you have the address here. And please remember to put your full name and your application number, otherwise your documents may be misplaced. So the application deadline itself is February 7th, 2020 at noon. And the deadline for submitting your supporting documents is February 14th, 2020. So what is required in your application package? So you need a personal statement of 600 words in which you tell us why you want to study law at HKU. You don't necessarily need to plan to become a lawyer, as some of our graduates do eventually move on to other areas of other endeavors. But we would like to know why you want to study law at HKU. We also require a writing sample of 10 pages, double-line spacing. It should be a piece of academic work you have submitted as an undergraduate student. And but for those of you whose undergraduate subject was a science subject or engineering or mathematics, and who did not submit a piece of written work as an undergraduate student, you do not need to provide us with a writing sample. And for those of you who have graduated from university for a long time and do not have any sample of writing from your undergraduate days, you can provide other forms of writing sample, perhaps work you produce at work. But if you do plan to do that, be sure to obtain approval from your employer, because we don't want to get you into trouble. We also require a copy of your transcript, a copy of your English test score, a copy of your curriculum vitae is highly recommended. It's not required, but it does simplify the review process for us tremendously. In our review process in years past, we have found an applicant's curriculum vitae to be very useful. And lastly, 2 reference letters from, for most of you, especially for those of you who are coming straight from university or who have graduated from university for not too long, we expect 2 academic references. And there's a standard reference request form, and you should ask your referee to send us the letter directly. And for those of you who have graduated from university for some time and may not be able to find 2 academic references, you can substitute one of them with a work reference. But we strongly prefer at least 1 academic reference because at the end of the day, the JD program is an academically very rigorous program. We want to know your academic abilities, and so we want at least 1 of your referees to be able to comment on your ability to study. So we do conduct interviews with some of the applicants, not all. We have admitted a small number of applicants over the years without an interview, but for most of the applicants, an interview will be required. It will take place in March, either in person for those of you who are based in Hong Kong, or by phone or video if you are abroad. And the application results will be released in April, after which you will be required to either accept or decline our offer within a reasonable amount of time. So for those of you who have received admission offers from other JD programs, and the deadline for your offer expires before our usual notification time of April, you're welcome to email us at jdinfo@hku.hk to the admissions committee to ask for an expedited review. We do require a documentary proof of an offer from another program, and upon receipt of your documentary proof of an offer, we will proceed to consider your application. We may give you a decision of yes or no, or we may still defer your application to the regular applicant pool, in which case you have to decide if you want to wait for us or accept an offer from elsewhere. So note for final year students, so this is quite important for you to be able to start your JD in early August on time. So by June, you should have completed all your courses in existing program, and HKU does not allow concurrent enrollment in another institution. So you must finish all your coursework at another institution and be no longer enrolled as a student officially at another institution by the time you commence the JD program at HKU in early August. And our offers are often conditional if you have not finished your undergraduate study, and we may give you a GPA that we require you to meet, and you will need to submit proof that you have met our offer latest by July 31st. And the JD program will commence officially in early August with the induction period. So to give you a flavor of the kind of students we have admitted over in recent years, you can see that a lot of our applicants are from local universities, American universities, mainland universities, and also UK universities. The breakdown fluctuates over the years, and there's no particular reason one way or the other, but you can see this is the breakdown in our 2 most recent classes. Undergraduate subjects, I would say probably the 3 main areas are business-related subjects, humanities and social sciences, and languages. They together account for 60–70% of the students' undergraduate subjects. But we do have students who have a science background as well, and also a considerable number of students who have studied law in the mainland before. We have no preference as to your undergraduate major. We are completely open-minded about what you've studied in the past. We don't think students with a certain background perform better or worse than students with other academic backgrounds. So you do not need to worry that your undergraduate major may not be to our liking, because we don't have a preference. And we do have quite a significant number of students with a postgraduate degree in a non-law discipline, and you can see that I think over the years consistently about 25 to 30% of our intake have a postgraduate degree in another discipline from either HKU or elsewhere. Work experience. We, again, don't have a preference for one way or the other, but we do find that those who have worked in the past bring a richer perspective to the class. And so we are certainly open to students who have worked before. And most of those who have worked usually have worked for a year or two, although in the past we have admitted students who have worked for more than 20 years. Well, thank you very much for listening to me. If you want further information on the JD program, you see the URL there, or you can email us at jdinfo@hku.hk. Thank you for your time, and hope you consider applying to us. Thank you.